All right, very well. I want to welcome you all again tonight. This is Jana McBride, and we're going to talk about going green saves you money. And I'm talking specifically about going green with Young Living essential oils, because Young Living is not just in the game. They are setting the standard. They've raised the bar of what new healthcare in America is going to look like. And as we talk about this, I want to teach you the power of understanding not only trends, but paradigms. Perhaps that's a word you've heard before, but you didn't quite understand it. But you're going to learn a lot about the word paradigm tonight, as I'm going to share with you many things that we can do, learn, grow together by changing our paradigm. The new paradigm for healthcare is Young Living. In times of change, the learners will inherit the earth, while the learned will find themselves beautifully equipped to survive in a world that no longer exists. Would you agree with me that we are in times of change? I mean, we are in such times of change, we're bordering on chaos. Everything is changing around us. There's fear and there's uncertainty, there's financial instability. Lots and lots of things have happened to us over the past several months, and it's hard to keep pace with what is going on. So what we want to do is kind of tone down this chaos and bring it more centered into home and help you to possibly understand what you can do and what we can all do together as a Young Living family to bring order out of the chaos and to bring peace of mind and to bring, above all, good news, because we definitely have that to share. Let's learn something new together tonight, okay? Paradigms. This is a word that was coined by a futurist named Joel Barker back in the early 80s. And at first I laughed at the word, but you know, now it's almost become mainstream in my personal vocabulary because I do understand it. This is how I define it. Paradigms are the boundaries that restrict and define our belief systems. They are the filters through which we hear and process information. And this accounts for the fact that you can tell someone a statement or a fact, and they can tell it to someone else, and it goes down the line, and by the time it gets to the third or fourth person, if you ask them to repeat it, it doesn't sound anything like what you said. Or you could have two people in church on Sunday sitting in the pew side by side listening to the pastor give the sermon, and after the service is over, you can discuss it, and you might find that one of you thinks that it was very boring and you didn't get anything out of it, while the other person listening to the very same sermon got very excited and thought it was life-changing. This is because each individual has a paradigm about what they believe, and it's a filter, and everything you hear and see and experience in the sensory realm is filtered through that paradigm. So tonight we're going to talk about changing the current paradigms and then creating new ones that can propel us into the future with hope and confidence. Now, when I say paradigms, some of you in your filter right away you think, oh, a pair of dimes. That's what she's talking about. And, you know, if you hear the word and you're not familiar with how it's spelled, you might think I was talking about a pair of dimes. Some people have a paradigm in the way they view words that they read on a page. For instance, here is a phrase, and you can look at this and try to figure out, well, what is that phrase? Now, the pessimist will say truth is nowhere. I can't find it anywhere. Everybody lies. Everything's corrupt. Negative, 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 negative. But the optimist can look at that same phrase and say, truth is now here. And I want to tell you and share with you tonight that we have some truth to share, and it is here, and it's good news. And there was a great master teacher one time long ago who said, you shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. And hopefully tonight the information we share is going to set you free from some limiting paradigms. Joel Barker said this: those who create new paradigms are outsiders. They're the ones who think outside the box. They have the ability to step back from a situation and not react on a gut level emotionally just because that filter, goes off inside. They have the ability to step back and assess the situation and say, let me think about that for a minute. The insiders, however, will fight to the death to keep the status quo. And you might think about politicians. They are stuck in many paradigms, aren't they? I think you would agree. So tonight I want to encourage you to be an outsider. I want you to step outside of the box, and we're going to look at this thing from a bird's eye view, or maybe from a new filter that you've not considered before, so we can change the way we think about healthcare. All right, here is our paradigm dilemma. America's biggest health challenge is not in finding the cure. It's also not in getting everybody insured. But we hear a lot about if we could just find the cure, then everything would be fine. But that's not the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is this. America's biggest health challenge is finding the root cause and eliminating it. You're not going to find a cure until you find the root cause. And once you've eliminated that, you don't need to find anything else. You are healed. All right, I want to talk about paradigms, and I call this particular group of paradigms the deceivers. And you're going to understand what I mean as we go along. These are the deceiver paradigms. And tonight I've selected 3. This is the FDA, the Federal Drug Administration. And they will say, trust me. You can trust us. We are here to take care of you, and we know what's best for you, and we're going to make sure that we pass laws and guidelines that are going to protect you from bad things. Now, another deceiver is what we call big pharma, or what I like to call them is the pharmaceutical cartel. These are part of the huge multi-billion-dollar industries that have their presence on Wall Street, but they also have a huge lobby organization in Washington, and they're in Congress every day, and they influence greatly what's going on, especially with this proposed health care bill that's going through. Big Pharma has a grand hand at that one, and they too say, trust me. Okay, so when you go to the doctor and the doctor prescribes a medication, it's coming from Big Pharma. Now, our third paradigm deceiver is what I call the spellcaster, or the media mogul, or the advertisers. These are the people who put together campaigns to market products. You'll see it on television or hear it on the radio. It'll be in the magazine or on billboards, and they put up claims, and they make promises, and they say, trust me, we have the best products in the world. Well, really? Well, we're going to check them out tonight. It's not just going to be my opinion, because you see, my paradigm may be different than yours. So together we're going to look at this on the out-of-the-box level and see what's really going on with the deceivers. Now, if you have deceivers and who are paradigms, you've got to have your heroes, the mighty paradigm busters. And tonight we have 3 of those. The first is going to be Thieves Man, and he comes to the rescue whenever there's a microbe that's on the loose and needs to be honed in and taken care of and snuffed out. And when you're in trouble, you can turn to Thieves Man. We also have another paradigm buster, another hero. It's Mighty YL, and he comes to the rescue with everything that Thieves Man doesn't cover. And he takes care of many things, whether it's a virus or a cut, a bruise, a scrape, or whatever it is. Mighty YL is there to help rescue you. He comes to save the day. That's his mantra. And then our third paradigm buster is my favorite. It is the wonderful, mighty, fantastic Sir Lancelot Young. And he is the reason that we have Young Living essential oils. And this really is our beloved Dr. Gary Young in his last jousting match on his 60th birthday last July. Now, for those of you who are new to Young Living, you may not know the story of the legendary Lancelot Young, but when he was 27 years old, he was logging trees in Idaho, and a tree fell on his head, and he was in an upright position, and it pushed him, as I understand, 3 feet into the ground standing. And it would have killed any other man. But God had his hand on Gary Young for a purpose, and though he was in a coma for months and he was paralyzed for 2 years in a wheelchair, today, just celebrating his 60th birthday, he's in jousting tournaments. He traveled to 89 countries in 2009. He is organizing the farms on several continents, and he oversees the distillation of oils, the research, the clinic, and all of the new things that are coming our way. This is an amazing man, and truly, he is our hero. All right, let's look at paradigm number 1, the FDA. Now, the FDA will tell you that if we approve something, that means it's safe. You can take it to the bank, you can put it in your pantry, you can put it in your mouth, and we're going to make sure that it's okay for you. So let's take a look at their record. In 1951, the FDA approved a new medication called acetaminophen. Well, it did many things, including pain relief. It was taken for when you have a fever, and it was, they did some studies on it. And finally, the manufacturer decided to trademark acetaminophen and call it Tylenol. And today in America, just about every home has at some time had Tylenol in their medicine chests. So, Tylenol was approved for safety ingestion in 1951. That's a long time ago. That's almost 50 years ago. However, just this past year in 2009, the FDA said, uh-oh, oops, we made a mistake. Now there is extensive evidence that liver toxicity caused by Tylenol or acetaminophen may result from the lack of consumer awareness. Excuse me, whose job was it to keep us aware? But it says, the FDA group says that it can cause severe liver injury. And I told the groups that we met with on the road, I said, how many people over the last nearly 50 years have died from liver disease or are currently on the liver transplant list because they took Tylenol? And these drugs are cumulative in the body. So 50 years is a long time to be popping that pill. But did anybody go to jail for this? Did anybody get fired over this? No, I doubt not, because the FDA says you can trust me. Truth is nowhere. That paradigm prevails with the FDA. Let's look at something else they've done. Well, the FDA broke its contract and broke its word that it would put warnings of neurological damage to children and unborn babies if expectant mothers received amalgam fillings. Bowing to the dental products industry. Remember I told you there are lobbies from the cartels and the manufacturers and that? The FDA, for the first time in its history, pulled label warnings about neurological harm to children. And that happened just 6 months ago. So, the new paradigm is this. FDA approved does not mean safe. And truth is now here. This is our new paradigm. All right, let's look at another paradigm. This one is Big Pharma, the pharmaceutical companies. Now, what are they telling us? Trust me. Medical science is looking for the cure. You can see this everywhere. There are ribbons. People wear them on their cars now, but it seems like every month it's a different cancer that they are collecting money for in the grocery stores, or there's a marathon, a run for the cure, and then there's all of this research going on and on and on and on. Well, that sounds all well and good, and most people in their paradigm, in their filter, have believed this because they said, trust me. So let's look at the facts. We're looking outside the box, down on history. And we're going to look at years 2006, 2007, and 2008. And according to these statistics taken from the National Cancer Institute website, this is the amount of money in millions that was spent in those years for the various 12 different kinds of cancer research. More than $717 million was spent in those 3 years on cancer research. And yet today, in 2010, there are more cancers and mutated cancers existing than there were 50 years ago. Now, a lot of argument can be said, well, they've got better detection, better diagnostics, there's more people. There's lots of excuses. That's what the filter will tell you. Do you know that cancer research has been going on since the 19th century? It was in the late 1800s that the first organized campaign to collect money for cancer research began. Over 120 years. Do you think that we might have at least found one cure? No, we didn't. And why is that? Truth is nowhere in the big pharma land. But the new paradigm will tell you why we haven't. There is no money in curing disease. Just think about it. Just think about it. The money that's been collected in over 100 years, and where does it go? Where does it really go? Well, one of the things that's happened is there's been expansions in the industry. This is a terrible thing to admit, but it's true. Cancer is no longer a disease. It is a booming industry. And you look at the whole idea of the oncologist. It's a specialized field of medicine that didn't used to exist. And then there are the cancer treatment centers. There's the private ones and there's the public ones. There is the oncology centers, the chemotherapy treatments, the radiation treatments, and on and on and on. All of this has been developed, and this is where a lot of the money has gone. And yet there is more cancer than ever before, and the mutated cancers such as inflammatory breast cancer, which was discovered 2 years ago. Why is this mutating? Why are we not gaining ground on this? Well, I want to show you just some of the reasons, and it has to do with going green. Truth is now here. One of the things I'd like to introduce you to is what's called material safety data sheets. When I was working in corporate America, I spent a few years working for Allied Signal in the safety department, and we managed all of the material safety data sheets for all of the chemicals that that corporation used in creating spaceships and submarines and all of the development. A material safety data sheet is by law required whenever you have a chemical involved, and especially a toxic chemical. It gives you the toxicity of that chemical. There are hundreds of thousands of MSDS, and you can find them for yourself. One of the places you can go is MSDS online. You'll have to fill out a form, but you should be able to access the information. There are other sites as well. But the reason I want you to be familiarized with the material safety data sheets is because most consumers never look past what's on the label, and most of them don't even look at the label. If it's FDA approved, it must be safe. That's what their paradigm tells them. That is what they believe. So the first thing we have to do in building a new paradigm about what's true is to understand that what's on the label is important. I also need to say that in most cases in America, companies do not give full disclosure on the label, and we're going to look at one of those companies in just a moment. One of the things that's happening with Young Living, of which we can all be very proud, is at convention they made the announcement that they are now redefining and reformulating many of the products, especially in the personal care line, and that's why some of those products are out of stock. They are going to take those products to the next level of green, and when they re-emerge, they are going to have full disclosure on the label. What you see is what you get. Now, a lot of times you might say, well, isn't it already 100% squeaky clean pure? And the answer is, in some cases with the personal care, there have been some ingredients that were chemicals that had an MSDS sheet. That is because in order to create a personal care product with performance, you sometimes have a few ingredients in very minute microscopic levels, but nonetheless they are there, and Young Living is aware. And so what they're going to do is they're going to go back to the drawing board, and they're going to take it back to Mother Nature, and they're going to reformulate these with plant-based ingredients, and when they're done, you will get full disclosure. And this is very important because we must have confidence in our products as we share them. Also, please remember that as a company, if you're going to manufacture and formulate a product, it's got to perform. People aren't going to pay money for something that doesn't work. And we already know our products work, but now they're just going to work even better. So the material safety data sheet is what you want to do when you go shopping. You might not have done this before, but we're going to start doing it. And this will give you an idea of what we're looking for. Now, I selected a few of the mainstream products that could appear in many homes. And this is Aleve, and it says its strength, it lasts up to 12 hours. It's a pain reliever and a fever reducer. It also, I want to draw your attention, and I'm going to try to get my highlighter here. This is on the label. Now, this isn't all of the ingredients, but it's right on the front. Okay? It says naproxen, and that is the primary ingredient in Aleve. That's the humdinger that does all the work and kills the pain and masks the symptoms. Remember, none of these are going to cure you because there's no money in curing a disease. If Aleve cured you, then you'd only buy it one time, and then the manufacturer would go out of business. So, but we want to look at not Aleve itself, but we're going to look from the bird's eye view, go below the surface, and look at least the primary active ingredient in these. There's a lot of bad ingredients in these products, but let's just look at naproxen. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the material safety data sheet, and I've pulled this up for you, and you can do this as well. Now you see this is naproxen sodium, and that was what was on the front cover of Aleve. But you know, Aleve is to be ingested for headaches and fever and pain. But look at this. It says right out of the chute, hazardous in case of ingestion. So why are we putting it in our bodies and putting it in our mouths? And down here it says, this is very upsetting to me, it may cause adverse reproductive effects and birth defects. And in humans, it can pass through the placenta of a pregnant mother to her baby. Now, I wonder how many pregnant mothers are taking Aleve and don't even know what they're doing. And did their doctor warn them about this? Maybe, maybe. And then let's go down a little further. It says, ingestion, which is what you do with Aleve, harmful if swallowed. Excuse me? They must really think we're stupid. But you see, they tell us, you can trust me. I'm not going to give you something that isn't safe. This is FDA approved. And if you swallow it, it can cause gastrointestinal tract irritation with nausea, thirst, abdominal discomfort, cramps, constipation, heartburn, on and on and on. And if that's not enough, this is page 2. Those are all the things that Aleve can cause if you ingest it. And so I wonder if this is all on the label. I don't think so. And this is just one ingredient. Here it says prolonged or repeated use of the product may affect the kidneys. and impairment of renal function. So I would say if you want to have full disclosure on a leaf, they need to put on the carton that if you take this over repeatedly, then you might as well get ready for dialysis or a kidney transplant. That's what the material safety data sheet is telling us. And remember, OSHA requires that every chemical have one of these sheets, and it has to disclose what's on it. See, the manufacturer won't disclose it. Remember the spellcaster I told you about, the advertiser? They're not going to tell you this, so we have to take responsibility in our new paradigm. All right, let's look at Zantac. Zantac, the active ingredient is ranitidine. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back one. Is ranitidine, and Zantac is known for acid reducers in acid reflux, heartburn, sour stomach, etc. Every time I see this, I thought, you know what? I just love my peppermint oil. I just love it. But let's take a look at Zantac's material safety data sheet and its toxicology. Okay? Now it says that toxicity to animals, acute oral toxicity, so don't leave this around if you've got animals. But for humans, it says hazardous in the case of ingestion. Well, excuse me, Zantac is supposed to be ingested, isn't it? It's also skin contact and inhalation. So this is what the data sheet is saying. You can't touch it, you can't taste it, and you can't smell it. Otherwise, you're going to be toxically poisoned. That's what it says. Isn't this ridiculous? Now let's look at this. This is irritating as well. May cause adverse reproductive effects, female fertility based on animal studies, and it's excreted in human milk. So if a mother is nursing her child and she takes Zantac because she has heartburn, or if she's pregnant, danger, danger, danger. Danger, Will Robinson. Look at this. Ingestion may cause digestive tract irritation. It could affect your behavior, blood disorder, cardiovascular system, urinary system, and liver. And it goes on and on. And that is what Zantac does in the human body. But you're not going to read that on the label. You have to look outside the paradigm and go to the material safety data sheet. All right, let's go on. Benadryl. I had a lady in, I think it was Toledo, we were presenting, and I gave this part. We arrived at Benadryl, and when I showed her the material safety data sheet, she gasped and cried out from the audience, and she said, "Oh no!" And I said, "What's wrong?" She says, "I take it every day." And it was just, oh my God, you know, it was really a shock factor for these people, and it was intended to be. Now, your primary ingredients in Benadryl is diphenhydramine hydrochloride, and I'll let you say that 10 times, okay? So let's just look at the one ingredient, because believe me, there's a lot more danger in this box. But let's look at the primary active ingredient on the data sheet. This one is really serious business. It says, extremely hazardous in case of eye contact, but it's only very hazardous in case of ingestion. Well, I disagree. But again, you can't touch it, you can't look at it, and you can't taste it, according to the data sheet. It also says right here, this is very, very powerful, carcinogenic effects. And it says that it's a Class 2 by the National Toxicology Project. What is a carcinogenic effect? It means that that piece of element, whatever you're working with, is a known cancer-causing agent. And I will read you from the NTP what it says about Cat 2, Classified 2. It says these substances, which should be regarded as if they are carcinogenic to humans, according to the National Toxicity Program and the Department of Health and Human Services, this is a cancer-causing agent. And, excuse me, the Department of Health and Human Services is a department of our federal government, the department that oversees the FDA, the department that takes care of us, that we're not supposed to be sick. This is why we've got to start questioning the paradigm about what we believe. And so this one in particular, Benadryl, if you're taking it, I would encourage you to stop immediately because you are ingesting cancer to your body according to the Material Safety Data Sheet and the National Toxicology Program. All right. Synthroid. I picked one prescription drug. You've probably seen the ads on television where they've got don't take in case of a side effect. That's the way they talk, and you're supposed to absorb all those potentials. If you look closely at a lot of those prescription drugs, one of the side effects is suicidal ideations or death. Pretty serious business. But we're going to look at Synthroid. And this is the #1 prescribed drug for hypothyroidism. And I've known several people who have been on Synthroid, but I want to I'm not here to prescribe or diagnose, and I'm not here to tell you to stop taking your prescription drugs. I'm here to enlighten you about the new paradigm that you and I have got to start taking personal responsibility for what we put in our temple, because we are eating to ourselves and ingesting to ourselves disease and death. Now, Synthroid, which is a prescription drug, this is a part of the Abbott's Laboratory data sheet, and I want to point out a couple of things here. First of all, this talc. Now, talc, as in talcum powder, is a byproduct of asbestos. Now, asbestos is outlawed. It's illegal, and yet it comes in under different forms and different names. But be aware that if you are taking Synthroid, it does have a byproduct of asbestos in it. Then, this was what amazed me. These are the different micrograms and milligrams of the tablets, if you take the, the smaller to the greater. But they all have aluminum, and they've got dyes, the Federal Drug and Cosmetic dyes. Some of them are not even for, or they are food and drug and cosmetic, but the different ones. Here's blue #2, yellow #6, yellow #10, red #27 and 30, red #40. What does all that mean? Well, these are FDA approved drugs, and we're going to take a look at what that means, because look at all of these dyes that are being ingested with every pill of Synthroid. We have to go back to the FDA because the FDA approved Synthroid for human consumption. And they also approved tens of thousands of food and cosmetic grade dyes. And I like to spell dyes D-I-E-S, because I think that if you get enough of these accumulated in your body, that's what's going to happen. So, here are just some of these from the FDA Summary of Color Additives. Some of what the dyes can produce, not that they will, but they might be in microscopic levels at first, but they are cumulative in the body. And look at some of these horrific diseases. And we wonder why nobody is getting better, but they're getting worse when they start taking medications. And this is the one that really angers me, the red #33. It's a fairly new one. It has traces of mercury, lead, and other heavy metals, which are autism triggers. This dye is in children's Tylenol. Children's and infant Tylenol drops, red #33. Check it out on the label. Okay, and why are 1 in 150 children being diagnosed with autism? It might be Tylenol, it might be vaccines, whatever it is, there's something gone very wrong in their little bodies. But this is outrageous, and these are some of the dyes that are in every Synthroid tablet. Okay, truth is nowhere to be found in the FDA approved dyes. Now, I'm sure most of you are familiar with Suzanne Summers. She's been around a long time. I really respect her in her post-television years. because of her campaign and her advocacy for natural medicine. She was diagnosed with cancer, and her doctor gave her what he thought the protocol should be, and she says, "Get me out of this place," because she didn't have a large chance of surviving it, and the treatment was going to probably kill her before the cancer did. But she had been doing some research and knew that there were doctors around the world that were actually curing cancer. And she interviews these doctors in this book, and there's some very interesting chapters. And I think it would do us all well to read this book again and again, because Suzanne Somers has broken the old paradigm about cancer. One of her chapters is called Conventional Medicine, the Dark Side. And the dark side of conventional medicine is this: there is no money in curing disease. Okay? But thanks to Suzanne, truth is now here. Okay, let's look at our next paradigm deceiver. This is the media mogul, the advertiser. Advertisers are required to tell the truth, right? They can't say something on television that isn't true. The FCC would get rid of them. No, afraid not. There is no requirement to tell the truth, as you probably have already figured out. So let's look at some of the things that the media is telling us. All right, here we go. Greenworks. I talked to a woman the other day, and I was attempting to share with her about greening with oils, and she was just very excited. "Oh, I've been doing natural for 20 years. I do this, and I use Greenworks." And she just wasn't going to listen about anything else, and I thought, okay. So I came home and I wanted to check Greenworks out, and it's advertised as being all natural, green, safe for children and pets, yada, yada, yada. Okay? Trust me. That's what the advertisers say. But what does your family say? Are they looking to you, mom and dad, or grandma and grandpa? Are they looking to you to protect them? This little guy is saying, "Mom, did you read the material safety data sheet?" Well, that's just what we're going to do. Here is the material safety data sheet. Now, I want to remind you that OSHA requires any chemical substance that has toxicity to have a material safety data sheet. So what does that say about Greenworks? If you try to find thieves cleaner, it does not have a material safety data sheet. Okay? Now, this isn't as bad as Benadryl and some of the others we looked at. However, I do want you to find something interesting. When you think about how we use our thieves cleaner, which is for everything, and how wonderful the house smells, and oh, it's just grand. And you can put it on the floor, and babies can crawl on the floor, and pets can eat off the floor, and it's safe as can be. We know this thing because thieves is an antimicrobial oil that just kills germs. And Greenworks, one of the things that they don't tell you on this particular sheet, but the reason that it's green is because it has blue dye number 2. Now, if you go back and look at that FDA approved food dye list, blue number 2 is known to cause brain tumors. Okay, so this is our all natural green safe product right off the bat. Another thing it says, it may cause skin irritation, so you have to take lots of precautions. If you spill it, it says contain it, absorb it, and contain it, and wash it down a sanitary sewer, and contact the sanitary treatment facility in advance to assess the ability to process this material. Oh my gosh, and we're going to use this in our home. And if you breathe it, move the person to fresh air. If breathing problems develop, call a doctor. And then, to protect yourself while you're using it, wear safety glasses, rubber gloves, and if there's a potential for repeated or prolonged skin contact, well, then you need to contact a NIOSH or use a NIOSH approved respirator. here is our safety product. Yes, yes. Now look at, here's part of the problem. The manufacturer is the Clorox company. Clorox makes bleach, chlorine bleach. And you may not know this, but in Germany, chlorine bleach is outlawed. It is absolutely forbidden. It is so deadly toxic. Now, I'm not saying that there's chlorine bleach in Greenworks, but it's made in by the same company. And so they really don't have a big concern about your health as much as they do the market share. And remember, the trend is going green. Okay? So, let's move on out of this area where there is no truth in the advertising. Okay, here comes the media mogul, the advertiser, and he says about Flintstones, vitamins, number one, pediatrician's choice. Why do I say that? Because it's right here on the package. If you go to the store and you look at a box of Flintstone vitamins, it says number one, pediatrician's choice. I really don't believe that's true. I think if you went to a respectable pediatrician, he would say, I don't know what you're talking about. And then again, maybe he's been deceived too. But I want to just show you from our research by reading the label. I'm not going to put the labels all up here, but I will tell you the ingredients in these Flintstone vitamins. The ingredients include allergies, thyroid tumors, trigger for asthma, hives, hyperactivity, chronic runny nose, and kidney tumors, digestive trouble and bronchial stress, brain tumors, heavy metal deposits to the brain, and 92 diseases including seizures. That is what's contained in Flintstones. How do I know this? FDA approved dyes. In the Flintstone vitamins, you will find aluminum, aspartame, and several dyes, all of which are, according to material safety data sheets, cause the above symptoms or can cause the above symptoms in the human body. And in little children, it can be especially significant. Truth is nowhere in this advertising. All right, and now he's coming in with his Flintstones again, but mighty Sir Lancelot Young to the rescue. Remember, he's our paradigm buster, and he busts it with Mighty Vites. Mighty Vites, which also does not have a material safety data sheet, has exceptional plant-based ingredients and essential oils. And even the elderly can chew these, because we find elderly are using Flintstone chewables, and some of them are on seizure medicine. Now you follow the dotted line to that one. So let's help get our elderly who can't swallow pills and vitamins, caplets, to do our chewables. They're wonderful. Truth is now here. Thank you, Sir Lancelot Young. And then the advertiser says, Glade air freshener with natural aromatherapy. You've probably seen these little plug-ins in the walls, and there's all kinds of commercials. And of course, they're following the aromatherapy trend. Everybody's into essential oils. And they say, trust me, it will make your house smell heavenly and soothing, and you can relax, and yada, yada, yada. However, it's time for our truth or dare. It's time to break the paradigm. Let's look at the material safety data sheet for Glade air freshener. I've highlighted some of the interesting points. Inhaling vapors of hydrocarbon propellants, which is in the spray, may produce simple asphyxia with symptoms such as dizziness, disorientation, headache, and excitation. That's simple asphyxia. However, a case of ventricular tachycardia, that's a racing heart, in a well child has been associated with accidental exposure to isobutane, N-butane, and propane via an aerosol deodorant. So the containers are also challenging. So we have to watch in what containers we buy our products. So one more time, truth is nowhere to be found when it comes to advertising. Here comes our paradigm buster. Mighty YL has come to save the day, and he brings us the fabulous diffusers with the everyday oils. You know, I think personally that if I had nothing but the everyday oils in my medicine chest, I could replace all those others personally. I'm not saying that you can or should or anybody else, but with everything that they have to offer, the symptoms could be ameliorated and I wouldn't be toxicating my body with poisonous chemicals. Truth is now here. Johnson & Johnson baby products. These are actually the French version, and they have the English on it as well. And sometimes new mothers will get these as a gift basket in the hospital. And I just want to remind you, by reading the labels and following the dotted line to the MSDS, you will find that the baby oil is actually petroleum. The baby powder is actually asbestos. It's talcum, which is a byproduct of asbestos. And there is sodium lauryl sulfate in the lotion. So, is this a good product for our babies? I don't think so. And here comes Mighty YL to save the day again with our fabulous Kid Sense line. All right, and now we look to the kitchen. And there she is, and she says, that's the power of Pine Sol, baby. You know, I grew up in a house with Pine Sol, and I used to think it smelled so wonderful. I can't get near it. I can't even go near it in the aisle in the grocery store. It makes me sick. Have you tried walking down the aisle of cleaners in the grocery store? If you were to muscle test yourself before you stepped into that aisle and you were strong, by the time you got to the end of the aisle, just walking through those chemicals, you would be so weak that you couldn't hold your arm up if they tested you at the other end. And the smell, it'll give you a headache. If you are clean and non-toxic person like I am, it'll give you a headache. But Diane says that that's the power of Pine Sol. Trust me. And many mothers think that it's safe for their children because it smells like the outdoors. However, Pine Sol woman has been replaced by our Thieves woman. And we now have one-stop green and clean shopping for the entire home in our Thieves Cleaner. You know, you can replace everything that's under the sink, just about. I think, you know, you could, for your dishwasher, for your laundry. I use them in there for the dishes. This is important, for cleaning your produce. You know, they're recalling vegetables, and people are dying from E. coli that was on the lettuce and on and on. But when you wash your produce in Thieves Cleaner, you are going to kill all of that bacteria. You can then safely eat your food. You can put it in a spray bottle and spritz down your bathroom. Do the mirrors, do the windows. This is one-stop shopping. And that in itself is going to save you a ton of money. And it's green and clean, and it's just been reformulated, and they brought it out at convention. Truth is now here. Here's a paradigm. I can't afford the oils. Have you ever had someone tell you that, or have you said it yourself? Well, it's a false belief. They just look at the price tag, probably on the retail price tag, and I can't afford that, especially if they think they can go down to the local health food store or you know, a Bath and Body Shop and buy a different kind of an oil for, you know, a tenth of the price, you know, so they're going to think I can't afford the oils. This is a paradigm. Now, I'm here to tell you the new paradigm, and the new paradigm is this. There are 3 ways that you can afford Young Living green products. One way is to enroll in the Essential Rewards program. That's what Young Living calls its auto ship, and I'm going to prove it to you in just a moment. Another way is to engage 6 people, just like yourself, to activate the new healthcare paradigm. If you're going to do it, get them to do it. And once you show them this information, or you get your own MSDS sheets out and you sit down and read the labels of the products that are in their bathroom or in their kitchen, they're going to see the light too. The third way is to turn your Young Living store into a home-based business, and with minimal effort. You don't have to build a big empire. You don't have to be on your way to Crown Diamond to be able to build a home-based business that is legitimately recognized by the IRS. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. Truth is now here about how to save the money. Do you spend at least $100 each month from your household budget on medicine, personal care, and cleaning products? Most people do. A lot of people don't even have a budget. But if you were to sit down with someone and just go over what they bought this month as far as these items, you would probably get very close to $100. And then, of course, you add in the time is money, and the gasoline to drive to the stores, and they don't all come in the same store, to get all these things, okay? $100. I think that unless you are unemployed, and sadly some of the people are unemployed, and this is even more important for those folks, because I'm going to show them a way that we're hiring right now, and they can earn unlimited income, and they can do it very quickly and easily by just sharing the new paradigm about healthcare. Choice number 1, the Young Living Green Healthcare program with essential rewards. Now, what does that look like? That means you enroll in the auto ship program, and for every PV, product value dollar, that you spend, and let's say we're using the figure $100, Young Living will pay you 10%, which is $10 back in free product. And that's cumulative. You don't have to spend it right away. You can save it up. And after 6 months on the Essential Rewards program, they will pay you 15% of that $100, or $15. And after a year, you will get 20%, or $20 of every 100 PV dollars that you spend on your auto ship in your budget. That's part of the way it comes back to you. You transfer by. You're already spending the money. So this isn't additional money. You are already spending the money out in the marketplace, in the Wally World or Walgreens or Kmart or your grocery store, whatever, to buy these products. And so it's not that we're expecting you to add an extra $100 expense to your budget. It's already being spent. You just transfer by it into the Essential Rewards program. And why? Because you can shop for 400 different products. You can replace a lot of things in your house in Young Living. You're going to exchange the use of petrochemicals, toxins, and heavy metals with all natural essential oil enhanced products. And it's amazing how many you will find. And remember what I just showed you, is that you can take your window cleaners and your toilet cleaners and your bathroom cleaners and your laundry and your dishwashing soaps and whatever, and you can use one product. And Young Living's Thieves Cleaner is concentrated, and it gives you the dimensions, the ratios on how to use it. It lasts a long time, and you are working with essential oils that not only kill germs, but they kill stains. I mean, they get blood stains out like nobody's business. They are great on animal pet stains and whatever you've got. It's amazing. If you haven't tried the Thieves Cleaner, you are missing a real treat. You will save on gasoline because auto ship orders or essential reward orders are delivered to your doorstep at reduced rates. When you order it inside the auto ship program, you save money on shipping. Even if you order from wholesale prices, and you do it on a regular order, it's going to cost you more, because the special reduced rates on shipping is only with your rewards program. But look at all the bennies you get. Now, here's your green shopping guide. You create your $100 shopping list, all right? Now, every month you're not going to need to replace your toothpaste, or every month you're not going to need to replace your painkillers or whatever it is. But eventually you're going to have to, mix and match. But as I say, with 400 products in the store, you can do this. You can do this very easily. Then you select your items from the Young Living collection instead of going out in the marketplace. You order from the Essential Rewards store, and there's no limit on what you can order. Okay? Compare price savings. Now this is important. We did a 3-month study of going into the marketplace and checking on internet websites about for the top selling products. Like, for instance, laundry detergent, we checked the price of Tide. We looked at Pantene shampoos. We checked Tylenol and different medications, over-the-counter medications, that kind of thing. And we averaged them out. We took different sources to kind of get an average of what you could pay. And we put them on a list. We actually created a price comparison list. And then we ran the numbers of the comparable product in your Young Living store. So let's say instead of Tide laundry detergent, you had the Thieves Cleaner, and what the price of the Tide was and how many loads it would do versus how many loads a bottle of the cleaner would do. And then we factored in what it would cost you if you ordered wholesale, if you were ordering inside your Essential Rewards and getting 10% free product rebate, and if you were getting the reduced shipping. And throughout the entire list, it's a 2-page list, and it covers personal care, it covers medicinal, it covers cleaning, children, pets, whatever. At the end of that, we ran the numbers, and on average at the end of the year, if you shopped in your Young Living store for these products instead of the marketplace, you would save almost $1,800. $1,800. And when somebody says, I can't afford the oils, you need to show them. And we are happy to share this research with you. What I'm going to require is that you contact me at my Yahoo email address if you would like this, and we will send this to you at no charge. And this is a very valuable tool. All right, moving forward. Choice number 2, how am I going to save money? How am I going to, get these products paid for? You can earn $100 every month plus commissions. If you're spending $100, because you need your commissions, because the $100 does not include tax and shipping, even though you've got reduced shipping. Okay, so how can I get that money back? Very simple. Here's another way you can do it. You share this new paradigm with 6 people. And when those 6 decide to join with you in the campaign and go green and invest $100 from their household budget in the Young Living store, you get a $100 bonus plus the commission on whatever they spend. Okay, it will run between $200 and $250 for your check. Now, is that easy? And you've got all the tools right in your hand. You can sit down and show them what they're doing to their body by reading the labels, looking at the MSDS sheets, and then showing them the product comparison. It's a no-brainer. And so if you only wanted to get your products paid for, this is one way to do it. And you're also going to be helping people you care about. Now, if you want to kick it up another notch, as Emerald would say, you could earn $500. Boy, then you could spend a lot of money in your store. You don't have to just limit that to $100 plus commissions, and this will average out between $650 and $750 in the check. How do you do that? Well, you spread more good news. If only 2 of those people that you engaged in the new paradigm, of those 6 people you engaged, if only at least 2 of them, and I think they all can do this, if 2 of them share the same information, open the eyes of the consumers and show them how they can afford it and also what they're doing to their body, and 6 more people under those 2 engage in the program, your compensation goes way up, way up. And if you never did another thing, would an extra $500 or $600 a month help you right now? This is not rocket science, and you don't have to do a lot, because once the people are using the products, they're going to know. They're going to know how wonderful they are, and they're going to start talking about it. Choice number 3, the new paradigm. Your $100 monthly investment is tax deductible if you are intentionally set up as a home-based business. Now, if you want to claim that you have a home-based business. And believe me, there's a lot of information that I'm not going to go into tonight, but great minds like Ron Mueller and Sandy Botkin have great teaching programs on how many things you can expense away, your tax write-offs, if you have a legitimate home-based business. For some reason, the IRS is still friendly to home-based businesses, and that may change, in the future, but as of right now, we, with our Young Living Bills business, have been blessed because of the efforts of our team to create a six-figure income every year. But we are in the 15% tax bracket because of this advantage. Now, you don't have to build a six-figure income every year. Maybe you just want to get your products paid for. One of the ways you can get your $100 back is as a tax-deductible expense if you are set up as a home-based business. You have to look like a home-based business. You don't have to do a lot. You don't have to have a lot of startup capital, but you do have to look as though you're doing business if the IRS should inquire. Number two, if you choose to take the aggressive approach to business deductions. I had a conversation with Mike McDaniel, who's a Crown Diamond with Young Living, and he is really up on this subject, and I've learned so much from him in the mastermind group. But he said that there are different schools of thought, different paradigms, if you will. Sandy Botkin will say that he called the IRS and talked to a couple of guys, and they said, no, you cannot deduct it if it's for personal consumption. However, he says, I've talked to some other tax attorneys, and they said, oh, yes, you can. Some CPAs say it. Here's how you can do it. You can choose to go very conservatively and not declare it. You can declare it, but be ready to have your facts in order. Or you can be aggressive and just say, this is part of my dues and subscriptions. Why? Because if I don't order this $100 of product every month, I don't get paid. That's the requirement to get my commission check and all the bonuses. So I actually do claim this, and I think that it is right, and I would be, I hope I'm not going to be audited, but I believe in it, and that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. So you have to understand the risk. But it is an option to get your $100 investment back. In times of change, the learners will inherit the earth, while the learned will find themselves beautifully equipped to survive in a world that no longer exists. Congratulations! You've just joined the ranks of the learned with a brand new paradigm for healthcare. Green, cost-effective, safe. The truth is now here. Okay, we're going to open this up to some questions.